What's up, world? Let me tell you about this beard growth oil I got from 12 tribes on Earth. 8 ounces of oily goodness with a nozzle that prevents sprays and spills, and soft ingredients that make it perfect addition to anyone's morning routine. From coconut to castor, all these oils are hand chosen. After using this herbal blend, the biggest thing I noticed is how soft, how strong my hair was, and how good I feel. Pick up your bottle today and make your beard the star of the show.
Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. I don't know if any of you heard about this, but yesterday there was a pretty strong earthquake. It was a 6.1, and Cuba felt it, and parts of South Florida felt it. And and they were talking about how unusual it was for Florida to get hit with that kind of earthquake, but they did. But we know we're going to see things we never saw before in these final days. I know I have, especially over these last several years. So it's not unusual, but you know, ladies and gentlemen, they're fixing our road out here, and some of that heavy equipment that they use shakes the whole house. I'm like, wow, you don't realize how powerful some of that stuff is until it's near you. So, anyway, yeah, the Philippines 7.9. Yeah, yeah. So, I noticed the earthquakes, at least the last few that I have seen that hit different parts of the world. These earthquakes are getting, man, they are getting strong. They are getting strong. So let's get into this, y'all. Let me share my screen. Okay. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. Thank you.
There was a 6.1 earthquake in the Gulf near Cuba, and the shaking was felt across Florida. And then this guy did tweet that this is the second largest earthquake ever recorded in the Gulf, according to the USGS. So a lot of earthquake action happening lately.
A 6.1 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Cuba was felt in parts of Florida. Multiple buildings were evacuated in Miami, we're told, due to the shaking. And according to our affiliate in Orlando, Florida, people across the state reported feeling the quake, including people as far north as Disney World. Joining us now is NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns. Bill, what more do we know? And is there a risk to the public in Florida at this time?
Yeah, when you talk about a 6.1 earthquake, all our West Coast friends know that that's a significant earthquake. It's not like a 7 or devastating 8, but a 6 is something that will rock you pretty good depending on how close you are to it. So this is where the epicenter was, kind of in between Western Cuba, and then down here is where Cancun is located. It occurred right after 1 o'clock Central Time. That's the 6.1. Now we're getting people that felt it as far north as Central Florida. So I want to show you the USGS. They have what they call a shake map. So that shows you where the concentrated energy is and how far out people they think that, significant, you'd feel it. So there's the epicenter there. You can see where Florida's located here. And what they call strong would be only in this little narrow circle that's just well off of Cuba. So that's why we're not talking about, any devastation or any destruction even in Cuba. But, we do see some of the furthest shake lines, in western Cuba. So we'll wait and see if we get any reports of anything there. I wouldn't expect much. And as far as frequency goes, this is on the entire planet per year. So you notice that I said if it gets above 8, that's when it really gets our attention. Usually only get 1 per year. We get about 18 7.0s on the entire planet. We only get about 120 that are above 6, and this was at 6.1. So it does show you that it was relatively strong. Thankfully, it was far enough out into the Gulf that we really didn't see any tsunamis, and it was about 6 miles deep too, and that helped with no threat of any tsunami action.
Some breaking weather news here just about an hour ago. Got reports of an earthquake just there in the southern Gulf of America, right off the northwest coast of Cuba. And we were getting so many calls here into the newsroom, reports of tremors and shaking really happening all across Florida. We felt it here in our St. Pete area, reports in Lakeland, and even as far north as Jacksonville, even feeling the shaking and the tremors about an hour ago as that earthquake struck. It's about 6.1 magnitude. We know nearly 6 miles deep, and that happened about 65 miles to the west-northwest of the coastline of Cuba there. So at this point, no tsunami concerns. We don't have any warnings or advisories up for Florida, but certainly continuing to get some reports here around the area, feeling the tremors and the shake from that quake happening about an hour ago. So there you can see where it occurred, 6 miles deep, 6.1 magnitude at this point is what we know. So we'll continue to keep tabs on this, keep you updated should we learn anything else here, as this is just starting to come into the newsroom here about an hour ago. But mentioning again, all across Florida, feeling some of the shaking from that earthquake right around the 2 o'clock hour. So no tsunami concerns, but of course we'll be keeping tabs on that should anything change, but not anticipating that to be an impact here for any of our Florida beaches. But pretty rare that we feel tremors from an earthquake here in the state of Florida.
All right, you guys still following us right now. We got that breaking news. We had an earthquake just offshore from the western side of Cuba, but it's been felt over 450 miles away in central Florida. It was a magnitude 6.1. 6.1 is a strong one. The good news, I can tell you this, there are no tsunami warnings, which is great news. But here's what it looked like. It was 2 p.m. Eastern time, right on the nose when it happened. Magnitude 6.1. So let's get right down to it. Let's go in the zone. Let's go back to Orlando, the Fox news station right there, and listen to their coverage.
As we continue to track this, getting an email from someone saying they felt it in the southernmost section of the villages. That's from Lauren Lewin sending us that. Gail Rivera in Kissimmee says she felt it, lives in the 3rd floor of an apartment. Ceiling fan in the office trembled. Several minutes later, the living room entertainment center with the TV and windows shook, saying she never experienced anything like this before. So, Christopher, have you noticed any damage or anything? How strong was that? And have you noticed any cracks or anything like that that have come from this?
Not that I've checked. Funny enough, I do have a Lego set that was on my entertainment system, kind of like on the edge. That did end up falling. Seeing kind of like the kitchen lamps shaking a little bit was a really weird, scary feeling because they weren't shaking extremely fast, but they were moving enough that you notice it. But as far as checking for cracks, I have not looked yet as far as damage goes.
Well, Christopher, we appreciate you joining us here on Florida Live and sharing your experience with us. Kind of a scary thing there. We appreciate you walking through all of that. Christopher Marin joining us live from Horizon West. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like you heard him say, just not something you would necessarily expect, not something that many people have kind of dealt with here. So we are going to continue to track this. We're getting a lot of new information. We've got to step aside, though, for a quick break right now, but we'll be right back with more Florida Live here on Fox Local, on Fox 35. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back.
All right, here we go. Just watching the live coverage right there in Orlando, Florida. It's a magnitude 6.1 earthquake that happened just offshore from western Cuba at this point. You can see it happened at 2 o'clock. So this thing is still fresh, and people are reporting all over the place. In fact, my buddy Mike Boylan down there from Mike's Weather Page in Tampa reported that he felt it too. So the shake mat's coming alive right now as we have reports of that going on. Good news is, at this point, it looked like it was a 10 kilometers deep. They always say that's where it's going to be. Right now, that'd be 6.1 miles deep. It's also magnitude 6.1, no correlation. But I didn't see any tsunami warnings out of this, which is some terrific news at this point. So I don't see any danger when it comes to that. It's more of a novelty. I haven't seen any reports of any kind of damage out of Florida. You wonder what's going to happen out of western Cuba because they are closer to the epicenter at this point. But the magnitude 6.1 is what we've got. So what about this? You see it was felt over 450 miles away. Get that shaker map going on right there. You can see some weak to light shaking being felt just outside of Miami. So you've got that near Lake Okeechobee. Those regions right there, the brighter shade of blue. I'm highlighting it right there. These are the reports that are now filtering in of seeing some weak to light shaking. And again, if you live in South Florida, when was the last time you felt an earthquake? I'm pretty sure never. I mean, I don't remember reporting on an earthquake the 30 years I've ever been doing this right now. January 2020 was the last earthquake that they had just offshore from western Cuba. So January 2020, that one was south of Cuba too. So I don't remember reporting any kind of being anybody feeling that one. This was a bigger one though. This is magnitude 6.1, which, you're getting closer in on that strong side when you're talking about that. Again, no tsunami warnings at this point, but this is what we know. Keep on refreshing the map just to see if they did any kind of upgrades on it. No, so far so good. Nothing out there. But again, it's just offshore, and I bet you they felt it in Cancun, but they felt it in areas away from Florida too. So we'll see if they felt it getting into lower Alabama. See if you felt that around Mobile. Those areas right there.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Did you feel the earthquake on Monday? A lot of people did. The earthquake was a 6.1 magnitude. There is no tsunami threat here in Florida. Contrary to how susceptible we are to storm surge, historically, we don't have a tsunami threat here in Florida. A couple of reasons why. We just don't have the right setup to really get those big earthquakes that propagate the tsunami waves. This earthquake was not powerful enough, and it was way too deep in order to trigger those tsunamis. So why did you feel it then? Well, the way that our crust has formed between the Bahamas, Florida, and Cuba makes it easy for that seismic energy to propagate at a far distance. So you felt it, but we're safe from tsunamis.
Well, times are getting crazy. I'm sitting here in my office here in Jupiter, Florida, and all of a sudden I feel the building shaking. So I'm like, I knew exactly what it was. And in Florida, we're not used to earthquakes, but I've felt them before and I knew exactly what it was. And I was like, how could that be? What's happening? Well, apparently Cuba had a 6.1 earthquake. And the Philippines apparently had a very large earthquake. I don't know. Times are getting crazy. I don't know. If I were you, God is very angry right now. So things in the world are not going well. Take this as your sign. Better get right with God quick.
So I'm just sitting here. I'm chilling. I'm in St. Pete, Florida right now. And all of a sudden, everything on my walls just starts vibrating back and forth. I'm looking outside, really not seeing nothing going on, and then I start moving back and forth. We just had an earthquake. Did anybody else feel that? I'm here in St. Pete, and yeah, first thing to go was my mirror over there. It just starts like tinking on the wall. Then my dog started like acting a little funny, and then all of a sudden it felt like the whole ground was moving. Who else felt that, and where in Florida are you at?
So, did we just experience an earthquake in Miami? Because my building was shaking.
Unsettling movement sent our way after a 6.1 magnitude earthquake off the western coast of Cuba. Some people deciding to get out of their Miami high rises and sending their reactions to Only in Dade.
And I stepped out, and now there's a bunch of people out here.
People sharing their shots of the shaking on social media, from a condo chandelier to a water cooler in Fort Lauderdale. People all over South Florida feeling the tremble. 7 Skyforce over a building in Kendall that was evacuated just to be on the safe side.
What?
According to the National Weather Service, reports of shaking started coming in around 2:15 Monday afternoon.
Earthquakes are very, very distinctive.
A man who lived in Northern California for much of his life says he knew what it was right away.
Well, I've been through 100 of them, let's say, over the course of decades, but and it's always the same. It's the same. It's kind of a twisting, creaking, swaying, and there's some noise involved in them. As obvious as day to me. And of course, that's what it was.
All right, y'all. Now, this is not the only thing that's going on. Now, they're predicting this is going to be one of the hottest summers on record. And they're predicting more heat waves. And I definitely see that already, because we're going to be entering probably about our 4th heat wave in the next day or so. So, and I think it's going to be like 4 days in a row of mid to upper 90s. So, yeah, things are changing. And this place is still declining. So, we're about to see a lot of changes, I believe, happening on the earth. It is so much going on right now. So I have another live coming up, y'all. And Donald Trump is now denying that he said no new wars. He was not going to have any wars. And we know he did say this on the campaign trail, but when he was being interviewed by NBC, he denied the whole thing. He claimed he never said that. So we'll get into that at 1:45 today. And at 3:45, Donald Trump abruptly walked out of an interview. So we're going to be looking at that and talking about it at 3:45. So y'all have a wonderful afternoon and be on the lookout for my next live. Shalom, family.